Hi, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if it's your first time here. I'm May, and it's going to be Friday Frights Part 2, which is where in the month of October, my friend Friday picked me out books, and I'm reading them. In the first part, I read 6 books. In this part, I'll be reading the other 6, and then I'll give an overview of my stats, because it was going to be a really long video, and I decided to break it up for ease. It was going to be so long if I didn't. So this is part 2, which is where we're going to read the other 6 books. It is October 12th, so I have little over 2 weeks to read the other 6 books, so I'm definitely doing great. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna spin the wheel for the first book of this video so that I can know what I'm gonna be reading next, and then I'll give live reactions and a review for each book as I finish it. Let's see what we're gonna be reading. Like I said, we only have 6 books left. We have 2 smuts, we have 3 scary books, and then we have a cute book. So let's see what the first one's gonna be. I would think it's gonna be fucking hilarious if we get a smut. Just because we ended the last video with a smut, so if we get a smut for this video, that'd be like so ironic. But let's see what the spinning wheel gods think that I should read for this part of the video. I'm fucking dead. That's a smut. That's a 28-page smut. I can literally go read that and be back in like an hour. Oh my god. This is... I can't wait till Friday. Because I've been telling Friday the order that I've been getting them in because we've been laughing about the chaos of them. He just doesn't know what I've rated them at all. He doesn't know my thoughts around them at all. So we're gonna definitely have a freaking blast laughing at this. I'm gonna go read the pufferfish smut and I'll be back. Okay, it is the next morning. I finished where I think it's like werewolf, but like not without the wolf. So where puffer last night, and I have questions. um, this book was 28 pages, and I don't understand if the plot was meant to be a plot or if they had to have something there to get it published. I'm really confused because it's 28 pages long. So I assumed that it was just going to be smut. But there's a little bit of a plot and then it ends on a cliffhanger. And I went and looked up. There's like 60 books in this series and they all seem to be about different sex scenes with different animals, and I'm like, does the plot get continued in those books? And I tried googling it and it was like no, but I'm like, then why would you end on a cliffhanger? And then people were like, well, you end on a cliffhanger to make you go read the next one in the series, even though it's not actually continuing the plot, it's just the next series that you get screwed by. And I'm like, well, that's interesting. So this 28-page book, I should definitely be able to tell you what happened in it. In this 28-page book, a short story novella, the scientist works in the piranha division of an aquarium, and one night on their shift they realize in this aggressive, they're not normal piranhas, they've been injected with something that makes them I don't know, like really really fucking aggressive, and not like more aggressive than what normal piranhas are. And one night on her shift, she realizes that there's something inside of their tank and she tries to fish it out. And then when she can't fish it out, she decides that she's going to get in the tank with the extremely aggressive piranhas. And she's like, oh, I'll put on the protective suit. But before she can get on the protective suit, there's a man that comes in that scares her and she slips and falls and goes in the water with no protective suit. So I was like, there ain't even going to be smut. She's about to die. I was like, where's the smut going to come in? Well, the man that scared her jumps into the water after her and saves her life because he can actually turn into a pufferfish. And not just like a normal, like, little tiny... He is like a 6-foot pufferfish. So imagine a man with a pufferfish. And so he goes down into the water and gets the foreign object and brings it back up. Well, he's still a pufferfish when he comes back up, so she drags him into this decontamination pool. And once they're in that pool, he returns to his normal form, and he's like how long do we have to stay in this pool? And she's like, we have to stay in here for 10 minutes. And he goes, well, I know what we can do for 10 minutes to pass the time. And then they have sex. They don't know each other. They've only had this one interaction of him scaring her falling in the pool, him saving her life. He goes, well, I saved your life, so let's have sex. And she does. And I guess the whole point of it is the fact that his private part can like inflate and deflate like a pufferfish. That's supposed to be really exciting, but I don't really think it's that exciting. But I'm also asexual, so maybe I'm just not seeing the hype of that situation. And it's over so quickly, and then as soon as like he pretty much has sex with her to avoid telling her why he was there, because he doesn't work in this division. He works in the pufferfish division, and he tells her, "Oh, let's have sex," and it's his way of avoiding telling her what's happening. But as soon as they stop having sex, he proceeds to tell her everything. He's like, "Oh, I'm here because I put that foreign object into the water to come back to you after the shift because I'm gonna tell everyone the secrets of this facility. They're testing on people. I was a normal human at one point, but then they made me be a pufferfish specimen, and that's why I'm now able to turn into a pufferfish." And he goes, "And then they're doing it to everyone." And she's like, "Well, they're not doing it to me." And then she's like, "Wait a second. What's in this decontamination pool? Because I'm a vegetarian, but lately I've been craving meat." And that's how the book ends. That's how the book ends. The book ends with her being like, "Well, I'm a vegetarian, but I've been craving meat recently. So what's actually in this pool? What chemicals?" And I'm guessing that it's supposed to be like setting up for the next book where you'd get screwed by a werewolf. But then I went and checked, and the main character is not even the same character that's in this book. And I don't understand what this author is doing, and I don't understand how to rate this. What if I don't rate it? Would that be a problem? Because I don't know how I can like I, because I don't like a 3-star to me is a book that's like, oh, I didn't hate it, but like I may recommend it. I wouldn't recommend this. Like it ends on a cliffhanger. The smut is just there, and the plot I think is just to justify it being a novella. But like a 2-star seems really mean because I don't also hate it. Like I just feel nothing for it. Like I simply feel nothing. Like the smut was smut. Like the smut was really weird. It might be the weirdest smut that I've ever read. Like because it's like he's like, you want to know what my pufferfish P word can do? I'll show you. Take your panties off. In this chemical pool, which seems like it'd be a hazard. Maybe you're gonna turn into a werewolf because the fact that you just got those chemicals up you. Yeah, that's a really gross image. And I actually have OCD, and I think that I couldn't enjoy that smut because I was thinking about the water and chemicals going into her. And I'm more concerned about that than anything else. So what if I just don't, I think actually I'm gonna talk about this book longer than I actually took to read the book. But what if I just don't rate it? Because a 3, I wouldn't classify it as a 3 because 3 is like, okay, well, I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it. I didn't enjoy this, but I also didn't hate it because I felt nothing. I felt not a single thing for this book. So I'm either gonna just, I think I'm just not gonna rate it, which I've never not done. Like, I think I'm gonna leave a review, but no rating. Like in the review, I'll be like, this is the weirdest book that I've ever read, but I don't think I'm gonna give it like a number rating. I hope that's okay with Friday. I mean, Friday you won't know until like 4 weeks from now, but like, I. What did I just read? And I'm not gonna read the rest. Don't ask me to read the other 59 in the series. I won't be doing it. I won't. And the bad thing is, like this book isn't like widely published. Like you can't just buy it from places. You have to literally go on the author's website and download it for free. And that now makes a lot of sense to me. Because when I was trying to find this book, I was like, why is it not being sold anywhere? Like, why is the author just selling it on their website? Now I understand why it's just being sold. It's free. You literally just sign up for the newsletter and then you get a free copy. I will be unsubscribing from the newsletter. I don't want any contact with this author ever again. I don't want to know what they're writing next. I also don't want to know why they were motivated to write 60 different mounted by monsters novellas. Let's just call them novellas. I have no interest in that. But now I understand why it was free. I don't think anyone would want to pay for this. But let's go ahead and spin For the next book, I'm sorry that there was no reactions, but like I said, it was like 28 pages, so there was no time to react because I just literally blinked and the book was over. So let's just get our next one. Here's a wheel. We only have 5 left. I don't really know what I want. We have a smut, we have a cute book, and then the rest are horror. It might be good to have like a scary book. We haven't gotten one in a second. Let's see what we get. Ooh! This is actually one of the books that I got from the library. So I actually have the paperback of it. That's gonna be so good. I think this book's like 300 pages, so I'll definitely be able to come back with some reactions. So I'm gonna go start this today, because I read Werepuffer last night. So technically this would be my book of today, and I'll come back to give you some reactions for it. Okay, I'm back a few hours later. I've read 100 pages of The Cabin at the End of the World. This is from my library. Library books slay. I'm just really confused. I'm really confused as to what's going on. Like the place that I stopped because 100 pages is my goal for the day, and I'm going into work training for the rest of the day, so I had no idea if I would get to any more, so I decided to read a little bit more for my work meetings. The place I stopped was not a good place to stop. That's all I'm gonna say. The thing that I want to react to is what we know so far is that this family, 2 gay men and their adopted daughter, are at a cabin on a little vacation. And the book opens up from the point of view of the daughter, and she is outside catching grasshoppers because she wants to study them in a little jar to see if they're healthy or not. And while she is catching the grasshoppers, a random man walks up to the cabin and is like, hey, before you go talk to your parents and tell them that I'm out here, I want to talk to you. And that immediately should have been a red flag to this child, but for some odd reason she was like, well, my parents told me to talk to strangers in the city, and we're not in the city, we're in the woods. So I'm sure it's fine. I'm like, no, you don't talk to strangers at all. So that kind of irked me that she was like, well, they told me to talk to no strangers in the city, and we're not in the cities. So she was talking to this man. Me, as the reader, I know the genre of this book, so I know that this person must not be a good person or not who he says he is. How about I just help you catch some grasshoppers before you go tell your parents that I'm out here? And she's like, yeah, help me. You just gotta catch the small ones. He helps her catch some grasshoppers, and he asks her how old she is, and she's like, oh, I'll be 8 next week. And he decides to give her a flower as an early birthday gift. And she's like, that's weird that he's giving me a birthday gift and he's a stranger. So she's like, well, let's make a game out of it. For every petal pluck, you'll ask me some questions. So she's asking him some questions. She finds out his name and his age. And while she's asking him some questions, she starts hearing some more foot sounds. But she's like starting to hear people come up. So she asks him, oh, are those more of your friends? And she goes, well, I wouldn't call them my friends, but I do trust them. So it's time, for them to come speak to your dads. And these people come up and they literally have weird tools. It's like tools made into tools. Like someone has like a hoe, but it has like nails all through the whole hoe. So it looks like a weapon. And she gets freaked out, obviously. She's like, what the hell? There's 4 people in total now, and they're all wearing dressy clothes, but they all have different shirts with collars, different collars on them, and they all have a different tool that looks like a weapon. And she's 8, so not even 8 yet, so she gets freaked out, so she goes and tells her dad, because her dads are just out on the back patio chillaxing. So the dads come in, and the 4 people are outside knocking on the door, and it's like, hey, Leslie, we need to speak to you, because this is the end of the world if you don't let us speak with you. So the dads are all freaked out. They're like, we don't have a gun. There's no cell service. The landline was cut. They have no way of getting help. They have no way to really protect themselves. And the people keep asking to come in and speak with them, and they won't let them. So they pretty much break into the cabin and tie them up. And they're going to talk to them, ask some questions and all that. And I just got to the part of the book where they're explaining why they're there. But then I had to stop in the middle of it. Because, like I said, work meetings and all that. And I am really confused. So they're saying that a week before the start of this book, that they were all messaged to this cause. and they were told that if someone didn't make a sacrifice, the end of the world would happen. And they tried to not believe it, but then they started having nightmares and visions. And when they all came together, they all said that they had the exact same visions and nightmares. So they were convinced that it's the truth. Well, they were told that this family, one of them has to die, and it has to be, the decision has to be by the family, and the killing has to be done by the family. So they tell the three people, hey, you have to pick which one of you is going to die, and then once you make your choice, you have to kill that person, and if you do it, then you save everyone else in the world, and the apocalypse won't happen. And the group of people, I mean, it's an 8-year-old and 2 gay dads, and they're like, no. Like, why do we even, like, what do we have to believe you? And so he's like, we won't make this decision, because they barely gave them any time to think about it. Like, it wasn't even like you had a couple of days. No, they were like, you need to make the decision now. We've wasted too much time. Time's running out. It's going to start happening if you don't do it. Like, you have to make the sacrifice. Giving, like, very much cult energy. And they say no. They're like, I'm not doing a sacrifice. Like, I'm not going to kill my 8-year-old, or I'm not going to kill my lifelong partner. And my 8-year-old's not going to kill us, obviously. So they say no. They're like, we don't really believe you, and even if we do believe you, at least the end of the world will happen, and we'll die as a complete family. So as soon as they say no, one of the 4 people that were there, like with the tools, they kill one of the 4 people to, I guess, make their own sacrifice to try to stop the end of the world happening. And that's exactly where I ended, like in the 100 pages. That's where it took me. What I want to react to is not anything that I just said. It's the fact that she was so unattended for so long, and as someone who had very strict parents, I just can't believe that. Like, I can't. Like, even when we were on vacations, we were never to be alone. Like, we had to have one of our siblings, and typically, like, a parent would be on the patio, like the front patio, watching us outdoors. Like, we had to be watched. Like, we had to be supervised. We couldn't just be out front by ourselves. Or at least if we were, we had to check in like every 30 minutes. And in the book, they're like, oh, we've been out here for so long. And the one dad wants to go check on her. The other dad's like, oh no, stop being a helicopter parent. Like, I'm sure she's fine. Well, while they're not checking on her, she's literally out front talking with a complete stranger. And that just blows my mind. There's parents out there that, like, to me, like, my parents definitely were helicopter parents, but it's because they cared about my well-being and my safety, because people were freaking weird. People were weird. This is not even, like, this happens in real life. People were freaking weird. And I could not get over the fact that they sat out in that back patio and didn't check on their daughter for hours until those people came with tools and was like, hey, go get your parents. Like, my parents would have been checking in every 30 minutes, if not sooner. Because, you never know what could happen. She could have fallen. She could have gotten attacked by a bear. Because they're in the middle of the fucking woods. Bears do exist. And that's, like, my first reaction to the book, is that I just don't believe that the parents went so long without checking on their daughter, who's only 7 years old. Like, I can understand if she was a bit older, like, 12, 13, but she's literally 7. She's literally 7. I just don't believe that. And I also just think that the dads, they react very valid when they see the tools and they think they're weapons. But one of the dads says that he has a gun, that he brought a gun, but he left it in the car. And I just think that's so stupid. He was like, because he didn't tell his husband he was bringing the gun, but he was like, oh yeah, I have a gun, I'll shoot you. And the other husband's like, you have a gun? So he's like, well, no, I have it in the car. And I'm like, that's so stupid, because if you brought a gun with you, why would it be in your car? Because his reasoning was like, well, if there's a bear or anyone homophobic comes up, I can shoot them. Well, you can't really shoot them if it's in your car. Like, not that we should be shooting bears, but I'm just saying, like, using the reasoning that he gives us, why would it just be in your car? Like, you should have taken it and put it in your house, and it wasn't a safe, so it would have been safe from their daughter. I just think that's such stupid reasoning that he left it in the car. Like, it's in the car. Well, this could have been, not that I'm saying he should have shot and killed all 4 people, but, like, I'm just saying, like, he threatened them with a gun that wasn't even in their home. When he's like, oh, well, it's in the car, like, maybe we can race out and get it. It's like, you have 4 beefy people outside with tools, and you think that you're gonna just be able to run past them. I'm not saying that it's a bad book. I just think that I'm like nitpicking a little bit when I'm not trying to, but these are things that are just standing out to me that I'm like, I don't really believe that. I don't really love that logic. Because I don't feel like that's what happens in real life. Like, when people have guns, like my dad has guns, like for hunting and stuff, like if he were to bring it, like, to a cabin in the middle of the woods, it would be literally accessible into the cabin. My dad would probably actually bring two guns, one for the car and then one for the cabin. Like, that way there's places in both. And I am all about gun safety. Just to be clear, I'm very much about gun safety. I do think hunting is fine. But like, if you're gonna use the logic that these characters are giving us, it makes no sense whatsoever that his gun is just in his car. Like, I can understand them taking it to the car if they were gonna be leaving, but like as soon as they got to the cabin, it should have been taken out of the car, put into the cabin, and then if they left to go do something, they could have brought it back to the car. That way, it was with them wherever they went, or they could have had two guns. I just think that this is bothering me a little bit more than it probably should. I'm very confused about what's happening with the plot. Like I said, I stopped in a really bad place. That's on me, so I won't give the plot any shit yet. I think it's a very interesting concept that someone has to be sacrificed on a group of three to prevent the apocalypse. We don't even know if the apocalypse is actually going to happen. So, this is my first reaction. I'm not probably going to read any more today. Maybe just enough to figure out what the hell's going on. Because like I said, I have like 5 hours of work trainings and work meetings, so my brain's gonna be mush after this, but I would say it's not bad so far. I'm not being wowed by it, but it's not horrific. Like, I'm saying it's probably like a 3 right now, but has plenty of time to get up higher. Okay, hi, it's the next day, and I've read like 100 more pages of A Cabin at the End of the World. I just want to do one more check-in before I finish the book and just say still have no idea what's going on. I've not even a sliver of an idea what's going on. I am so confused. I'm like that one meme where it's just like a bunch of like numbers inside of someone's head. That's exactly how I feel. I don't know what's real, what's not real, who's actually the bad guy, and I only have 70 pages left, and I'm really hoping that they're still somehow able to wrap this up in a way that makes sense, because as of right now, I'm like, how could you possibly wrap this all up in 70 pages? I'm very, very, very confused. And I just got to the part of the book where one of someone dies who wasn't meant to die, and it was really sad, but it also makes me so angry because I just feel like so much of this could be avoidable. Like, all of this could have just been avoidable, and I guess that's the point of a horror book, is like a lot of it could be avoidable, and just sometimes bad things happen to people. I definitely understand that. This book is making me angry because in my last clip I talked about how the gun was in the car. Well, they got one of them got free to go get the gun, and then they like missed like 3 of the shots. And it's like, well, if you're not that good of a shot, why'd you even bring a gun? I mean, they are, you know, being held hostage and all that, so I'm sure that makes them really stressed out and all that. But just like it's just silly to have like a whole chapter about how this guy has been doing with guns for years and years and years and goes to target practice every month, and then he literally misses 3 shots. I'm just like, are you good? Maybe you should be going to practice twice a month, maybe. And then someone died from the gun who wasn't meant to die from the gun, and I'm just like, maybe we shouldn't have had a gun at all. Maybe, just maybe. I just feel like I don't know how I feel. I don't know if I'm liking this. I don't know if I would say that I'm enjoying this. I'm so confused because typically when you read a thriller book, like, you have a general idea of what's happening, and like sometimes the author will switch it up on you and like have a big plot reveal. I don't even know if I fully follow the plot that we've been given. And I don't want to call myself stupid because I'm not stupid, because I'm really actually really smart. I just think maybe the way that it's getting put to us is a bit confusing, because sometimes there's not like dialogue that's happening, it's just paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs of like inner dialogue, and I just feel like that's kind of slogging it down a bit. I don't know if it's gonna be a 5 star for me. It really depends what the ending is. Obviously, they only have 70 pages to wrap some stuff up and make me happy, and I don't want to say that I don't believe in them, but I just don't know how they could. So maybe I'll come back all surprised, like, oh, you guys won't believe this. Maybe, but I also think I might come back disappointed, which is how I feel sometimes about thriller books, which is why I don't typically dive into that genre very often, because sometimes I'm just like, I could have done this better. I could have wrote this better. So, yeah, I only have so many pages, so I'm gonna read it on my lunch break, and I'll be back in a couple of hours to give my final thoughts and my review. Just know that I'm very confused. Just know I'm very confused. That's all you need to know for now. Okay, hi. I am back. I've showered everything, changed, and I have finished The Cabin at the End of the World. I feel so bad because I believe Friday really, really liked this book. Like, I checked Storygraph and he gave it a 5 star. I will not be giving it a 5 star. I actually don't think I like this book. Or maybe it wasn't meant for me. I just think that I spent the entire time confused. And I ended the book still confused because there's not really much of an ending. It's more like open ended, and I don't really like those kinds of books. And I just think that I'm a bit unhappy after reading this book. Like, it wasn't bad enough to like DNF, but I don't think this is gonna be a 5, and maybe not even a 4. I'm so sorry, Friday. I think this might just be differences of opinions on what we like in thriller books. I think I'm gonna give it a 3, maybe a 3.25. I just like when you have a book that's kind of complex and confusing, I think that you have to wrap it up in a way that makes sense, and you can't just leave your readers hanging, at least to what I like, my preference. And I was confused the entire time, and I am still confused. Nothing's really truly explained, and I just don't like that in thriller books. It's not a bad book. I would say that I would recommend it to people who might want these kinds of things. I just think that this missed me, and I'm not the person for this kind of book. I don't want to call myself dumb because I'm not dumb. I'm actually pretty freaking smart. I just think that the writing style of this made me feel dumb. And I also feel like I didn't really understand in the later parts if like the person was trying to say that it was real or not, or if it's like not supposed to be real. So I'm gonna give like a full spoiler review of like what the book is about and kind of how I interpret it. So, The Cabin at the End of the World, I was saying in my first clip, is about this family who goes on a cabin for vacation, and then these strangers show up with tools, and it's like, you have to kill one of you to stop the world from ending. Well, the family fights back, and it's like, we're not killing each other, so then, like, they kill one of their own people, and then they turn on the TV, and then it's like, there's hurricanes and waves that are drowning people. So, it's just like a lot of I don't know. So then it repeats itself. Like once again, they get the choice to save themselves, or something bad's gonna happen. They once again choose to not kill anyone, like not kill one of their 3 people. So then, the plague happens. But like I was saying in my very last clip, their daughter ends up getting shot by accident, and they're like, well, I wonder if she counts, because even though it was accidental, like it is a death, she doesn't count. So then that's when the story gets really confusing to me, because then one of the people that had the tools, she ends up going on to a whole thing about how she did believe, but she doesn't believe, but she can't stop it from happening because it's just too late, because there is something happening, and she ends up killing one of her own people. And then it's like, I'm gonna help you guys escape. Like, it's just the 2 men now, because their daughter is dead. She's like, I'm gonna help you escape. I'll tell you what the keys are. I'll tell you where the truck is, and then we can all escape. Well, they get to the truck, and then she kills herself because she's like, I'm not allowed to go with you. I'm not allowed to tell what's the truth. And she gets killed. Like, she kills herself. And that's where the book is them, like, the men are like, well, is it true or not? And the one man almost also kills himself, but then his husband's like, no, whatever happens, at least we'll be together. If it's true, let's, we'll die at the end of the world together. If it's not true, then we'll live a very happy life together. They were like, no matter what, we're gonna be together. So let's just get in the truck and leave. So that's how the book ends. I just don't know if it was real or not. And I don't like that I don't know if it's real or not. Once again, I don't like using my imagination in books. I don't read to use my imagination. I don't. I don't know if that's like a neurodivergent thing. I don't know if it's because I can't visualize things in my head. Like if you tell me to visualize an apple in my head, I can't. So maybe that plays a part into it. but I like to be told specifically what's happening and how it's gonna end and where you wanted it to end. And for there to be an open ending, I just get frustrated. Like my brain gets frustrated. Imagine you were, I love using tea for analogies. Imagine you were like steeping a tea and you're like, I don't know what it's gonna taste like after I steep it. And you add the milk, you add the sugar, and you're like, I'm gonna let it steep for 5 minutes. And then right before the tea gets steeped, you decide to put it down the drain without trying it. You're like, well, I don't know how that tea would have tasted. I'll never know how that tea was going to taste it. That's how open ending books feel to me. They feel like counterproductive. Like you put in all of this work just to just stop. I talk about this every time I read an open ending book. So then I'm subjected to them again and again because most people don't mind them. I'm in the very small minority of people that don't like open endings. So like people don't think to tell me because they're like, well, I didn't mind. Like, I'm sure Pizza Cat has happened a few times. Pizza Cat's been like, well, I didn't mind the open ending, so I gave it to you to read. And then I'm like, what the fuck? This is its open ending. And I feel like that's what's going to happen with Friday, is that Friday's going to be like, well, I didn't care about the open ending. And then he gave it to me to read, not realizing that I don't like open endings. And now I'm sitting here raging about the open ending. I think I need to like put out like a statement, like a caution statement. Do not recommend me a book if it has an open ending. Like across my storygraph or something. I don't know, in my Discord, my Twitch page, something. But I do know that one thing that's supposed to be interpreted is that all four of the people with tools, they were meant to be like the horsemen of the apocalypse. So like one was the plague, one was the water, one was the darkness, the four horsemen of the apocalypse, whatever the fuck that's called in the Bible times, whatever the heck they were calling those people. So each time they killed one, they were pretty much unleashing that into the world. But that still doesn't tell me if it was actually real or not. Was it a cult? Like, you could tell me that's how it's supposed to be. But that could have been freak coincidences just happening. Like, plane crashes happen all the time. Hurricanes happen all the time. I mean, none of those, happening certifies what they were saying. And I think I'm just angry that we don't get a more clear ending. Like, I would have preferred them to kill each other. Like, if I'm being point blank, period, honest with you, I'd rather the gay couple have literally just both killed themselves over the open ending of, well, we might live, we might not. I would rather if you just shot yourself. Like, obviously, that's really horrible to say, but like they could have like killed each other, like double murder, suicide. I would have preferred that because then at least it's an ending and they would have chose to believe in the apocalypse. Or I would have preferred them to have been like, no, we don't believe, we're gonna get in this truck and go away. It's the fact that it's in the middle. Like, they acted in the middle all the way to the last page of like, well, is it true? Is it not true? And in the very last page, they're like, well, no matter what's happened, we're going to go on. Well, I'm not going to be able to go on. I want to know if you lived or if the apocalypse happened. And I'm getting angry. We need to just pick up the next book. I'm getting too angry. We got to move on. We have 4 books left in the main set. I really hope it's a fucking smut at this point. I really hope it's bad Kraken. I really need that after that book. Let's spin the wheel. It's a horror book. So actually, funny enough, I just got this from the library today. Like, the library emailed me and was like, your digital copy is available to get. And I'm like, of course I would know that I would have gotten this. This is just ironic. What a coincidence. Speaking of crazy coincidences that can just happen, we just had one. Okay, I'm gonna start Hyde and just hope that it's better. I'm so sorry for Friday. I know you really like this. I know you give it 5 stars. I just think that I'm not the audience for it. I'll be back to give you some reactions on Hyde. Good morning. I've read 50% of Hyde, which was accidental. I did not mean to read that much in one go without giving any kind of reactions. I guess I was just really locked into the book, and I'm actually really enjoying it. Which I guess is a surprise to some people. Because I was talking about it with some of my friends yesterday, and they were like, we have not heard good things about that book. And I was like, really? Because Friday gave it 5 stars, and like, yeah, well, we've talked to other people, and they have not said very good things. So we haven't read it. And I was like, I'm really enjoying it. Like, there's a book called The Island by Natasha blah, 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 blah. I think her last name is Preston. And this is what I was wanting in that book. Because that book is about an abandoned amusement park, pretty much. And this is about an abandoned amusement park. And I think it's wrote much better. It does have a different plot, but I just think that, like, where I was wanting the plot to go, this book is doing, and versus with the island, it didn't give what I wanted it to give, and then yeah. So I'm really enjoying it. It is about an amusement park, and there is pretty much a competition where you have to play hide and seek for 7 days, and two people are out per day, and if you're caught, you have to leave. So you have to hide from sunset to sundown in the abandoned amusement park for 7 days. And if you do it, if you're the last one standing, you win $50,000. And of course, it's a thriller book, so that's not all of it. Like there's a whole lot going on that we don't know about until, as they're in there and things keep happening. And I actually really like it. Like, I think I'm also going to be giving it 5 stars. Obviously, that depends on the ending because I have been running into a lot of open ending books, and if it has an open ending, it will lose some points for me. But as of like right now, being 50% in, I actually think it's a really interesting plot. I mean, I've read a lot of amusement park books, but I've never read an amusement park book where it's about playing hide and seek. And they don't have to, they're not seeking, they're the ones hiding. Like, they're all hiding. Like, all 14 of them are hiding. There's 14 people, and 2 leave a day. So by, like, that math, I don't understand. Like, this is, like, the first clue that something's wrong. If there's 14 days and 2 leave per day, that doesn't add up. Because then how is there a winner? Because they say that. They say there's 2 per day. Well, if there's 2 per day in 7 days, that means they're all out. And there is no winner. And I don't know if that wasn't intentionally, like, what supposed to, like, stand out to us. But that stood out to me immediately of, like, if it's 2 per day for all 7 days, then there can't be a winner. Or they would have said 2 per day until the last day when it's just whoever's last standing. They didn't say that, though. They did not say last standing. They just said, is 2 per day. Interesting. So I believe there's no winner. And I believe it's because they're all going to die. Don't ask me how or why. I just think that's what's going to happen. But I've never read a book like that where the plot is hiding. And and it's an abandoned music park, and it's a creepy music park. Like, there's a weird cabin / temple in the middle of it, and it's set up kind of like a maze. And, like, all the 14 people are different, and they all came for different reasons, and they have different personalities, and you, like, jump between their point of views of, like, what's going on, and where they're choosing to hide, and why they're choosing to hide there. And I think it's a very interesting format for a book. There is some characters that I can't stand, and I will be glad if they die, but overall, I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting. I haven't been reacting to a lot this video just because I feel like there hasn't been a lot that I want to react to. Like, the first book was literally 24 pages. There's not much that you can react to. And this one, there's not anything like crazy moments happening. It's like just like a typical thriller, so I can't really react that much. But I do have a really silly smut left, so maybe we'll get some really good reactions out of that one. This is gonna be a little long of a video anyways, because I have to do the stats in this one. I have to do like an overview of the books that I read. So this one, no matter what, is gonna end up being really long. But I am gonna try to check in at least at the 50% point for each book going forward. So at least you'll get some kind of check-in from me instead of just no review. This one's really good, and I'll check back in if there's anything before the end of the book that I need to talk about. Okay, I'm back like 2 hours later. I haven't went to work yet because I work later today, so I was doing some reading and I got to like 70% in the book. But I wanted to react to these 2 quotes that I just read that were kind of almost back to back, and I think they are really freaking profound, and I was like, whoa, when I was reading these, and I was like, I have to read these to everyone. This one quote says, "If all the world is hell and evil is all around them, what else can they do but try to help each other?" That made me emotional, but the quote that I literally just read, I was like, wowza. I didn't need that. Stay with me, it's a bit of a long quote, but it says, "People pretend things aren't wrong even when they feel the truth because they're too afraid of what it means to look right at the horror, right at the wrongness, to face the truth in all its horrible glory. Like little kids playing hide and seek. If they can't see the monster, it can't get them. But it can, it always can. And while you aren't looking, it's eating everyone around you. Damn. Damn. That's like really profound to read this in the world that we're currently living in. Because I don't know why that would be in this like in this kind of book, but I think that's like really profound when you think about it in other contexts. Because it's true. Like, you can close your eyes and act like things aren't happening, but even though you have your eyes closed, they're still happening. And while you're not looking, it's just happening to everyone around you. And it's eventually going to happen to you. Like, you're not exempt from things happening just because you close your eyes. And I think that is really profound. I only have 42 minutes left in the book, so I'm going to go read it probably on my lunch break, and then I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. I just finished Hide on my lunch break, and I am going to be giving it 5 stars. I really enjoyed this, and apparently that's not a popular opinion, but I don't care. I really, truly enjoyed this. It does have an open ending esque kind of wrap up, but I think this one is fine because it's not like, oh, do they live or they die? It's just more implied of what happens after the ending. Like, there is an ending, and then it's like a little bit open to like, does he kill everyone? Does he disappear? I'm fine with that. I just don't like when you don't know if a character lives or dies. Personally. Like, I don't like when you don't know if the main character themselves live or die. Those are the kind of endings that I get pissed off about. Where it's like, do they live? Do they die? You don't know? I don't know. And it's like, I want to know. At least in this one, you do know that they're alive. Um, and I really liked it. So I'm not going to give away a lot of spoilers, but I really loved the way this was wrapped up, and I actually read the author's note, which I don't typically do, because typically after I finish a book, not an author's note, like the acknowledgments, I don't typically read those, because I'm just like, whatever, like next to the next book, but wanted to, because this book had a lot of rage behind it. Like, as I was reading, I was like, there was so many quotes where I was like, this has so much rage. This author is mad about something, and at the very very end of the book, like you have that ending, and then you literally flip to the next page, and it's like technically before the acknowledgments. The author put this line. She put, to the youngest generation we've tasked with saving us all, you shouldn't have to, I'm so sorry. And then when you go to the acknowledgments, it says that when her child was in 8th grade, they had to do a feature about getting glass classroom windows, like fox stained classroom windows. And you wanna know why? It was for like to prevent active shooters. And she was just saying, like, why do we task our younger kids with this responsibility of fixing things that we've created, or like we just keep putting the solution to the next people. And it happens so much in our society, like with climate change. I mean, we have fucked the climate up, and we just keep being like, well, maybe the next generation will solve it, when we should just take the active steps ourselves to solve it. But you see this a lot in the book, because there is the main plot point is something that's getting passed through generations to generations, and they are surprised when this generation of people fight back. They're like, what the hell? Like, this is an honor to have to no, it's not an honor. Like, if you created a problem 100 years ago, it's not my responsibility to be the fucking savior. And I feel like we have so much of that happening in our own society. We have that so much happening with older people. They're like, well, the kids these days, and it's like, we are like this because of what you did. So I definitely got those vibes. Like, very early on in the book, I was like, all of these fucking quotes, this author is pissed off about something. As they deserve to be. And now that I know what they wrote the book, why they wrote the book. But they said that they had so much rage surrounding the active shooting situations that they had to write a book to get their rage out, because all they had was art to cope with. So they took their art that they love and they wrote a book where, things are solved. Like, there was like, not a happy ending, but a resolved ending. And I really loved it. I'm giving it 5 stars. I would recommend to people who maybe want the amusement park vibes of like an abandoned amusement park. I do think it's great. I think it had a very excellent, not really any twists and turns that you find out at the very end. You kind of find them out throughout the book. It's a very short book too, 236 pages. I mean, it didn't take me very long to read at all. I had to take breaks because of work, but if I would have read straight through, I probably could have finished in less than 4 hours straight through. This is been one of my favorites of the month. I'm really excited. We're gonna go ahead and get our next one. Let's see which one we're gonna get. Spin that wheel. That was literally so close to being the cute book. I'm totally fine with this. I'm excited for this. I'm not sure yet. The writing is really funny. I'm at 25%. At one point in the book, he says to himself, well, I can't just stand around here and jerk myself off with words. And I'm like, why would you say it like that? He says, I can't just stand around jerking myself off with words. And it's about this pumpkin that's grown and then he's carved and then they shove candy into him and that brings him to life. And then he goes around trying to kill 16 to 18-year-olds who, it's called The Run, and the 16 to 18-year-olds are trying to kill him for a prize. But these 16 to 18-year-olds are starved for like 5 days before the starts. And I'm like, why are you getting starved? They're literally locked up and starved for 5 days. I'm like, I think I'm confused as to how these correlate. So I was laughing because at some of the writing, it's just really fucking silly. Like, I don't know. Yeah, the pumpkin is called October Boy, which is such a silly name. Like, one of these says, once he eats himself some of the candy that serves a heartbeat, there won't be anyone standing in his way. What the hell does candy that serves up a heartbeat supposed to mean? I'm confused. It definitely is a unique concept, and it's not that long of a book. It's only like 150 pages. So I'm already like 27% in, just one sprint. So I am gonna read it. I just couldn't stop laughing at some of the words they were using. I wouldn't say that I'm enjoying it, but it's like really silly in a fun way. If that makes sense. It's like staring up at Santa Claus or the goddamn Easter Bunny, but only if Santa was the kind of guy who'd strangle you with your own stocking, and only if the Easter Bunny was the kind of rabbit who'd stomp you dead and peel your cracked skull cap like a hard-boiled egg. Like, I'm laughing at it. And at one point, the narrator starts talking to us, the reader, and it's like, you know how it's like, blah, 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 blah. You've been through this before. And I thought that was really interesting that, like, we went from following a character to it being referred to us. That was interesting. But this takes place in 1963. So it's just a wild time. But let's spin the wheel and see what we get. Of course, it's gonna be the fucking tentacle smut. Who's surprised? No one should be surprised. Okay, I'm editing May because I was editing the video per usual just to realize I never rated and reviewed Dark Harvest because I read it on stream, like the entire book on stream. I talked about it on stream. That's what the clips you just saw was, but I didn't want to spoil anything for Friday because he was in the stream. So I was like, oh, I'll make a video later on talking about how I feel about Dark Harvest. And then I literally never did. I am so sorry. I'm just gonna give like a really quick one about it because it's not long enough to do a deep dive into it without spoilers. I'm giving it 5 stars, even though it like doesn't have like a whole lot to it. I thought it was really fun. It was really funny. It made me laugh a lot. It was literally cracking me up. I was literally like laughing while I was reading it. It has a very interesting concept. It actually did Like the ending did shock me a bit, and I don't know, I kind of really recommend it. And I think it's really good. And I think it's worth the read, especially if anyone wants like a really short book. I think my friend Ali and Friday both really liked it. And I think the clips, I mean, I say what I want to say, but I never said what I gave it. But I gave it 5 stars just because of how silly and fun it was. I've never read a Halloween book that genuinely made me laugh, but some of the sayings and like the words that they were using was so far fetched and ridiculous. I had a fun time with it. So it got 5 stars from me. Now back to in order. You'll see me at the end of the video. Okay, hello. It's been a few days since I did this vlog, like since I updated you guys. It is October 21st. I took a few days off from this video because I was doing a tiny terror video for like a 24-hour readathon, and then yesterday I took the day off from reading pretty much. So now I'm finally reading Bad Kraken. So I won't be finishing as early as I thought I was, but hopefully finishing Friday's TBR by the end of the week, which would give me like a couple extra days to maybe get out another book, an extra book, or like maybe just spend the time editing. We'll see how it goes. But I started Bad Kraken today. I've literally only read the intro and then the first chapter, and I already have something to react to. So I was like, okay, I have the mindset for it. I'm locked in. And then in the intro, it says that the mating bond used to be just between monsters, but now it's suddenly between human and monster. And I was like, okay, interesting. And then in the first chapter, the first actual chapter, like our intro to the character, she's at an orgasm collecting center. So we're just jumping right into it, huh? Like we're just diving into the smut. I mean, this isn't like smut, but like what a crazy place to start if you think about it. Like I'm a little shooketh. She's like, oh yeah, I come here twice a week because I use this to pay for college. I mean, you go, girl. I just not even a hi, hello, how are you, what's your name? Just, I come here and I orgasm for money. And it like walks you through her doing it too. She's like, I do this and I do that and I don't even need this anymore. And I'm like, I feel like this is way too much information for someone that I'm literally meeting for the first time. So I think that sets the tone of the book. Maybe. I'm a little scared. It's like 400 pages. I was like, what could possibly happen in this book that needs 400 pages? I'm nervous. So this is my first reaction to Bad Kraken. I don't know how much I'll be checking in, but surely I'll check in when weird smut happens, if nothing else. So I'll see you guys around. I promise you won't be waiting days for the next update. I'm going to be reading throughout today. Okay, I'm back several hours later. I took a shower, and I'm here to react to some more of the Bad Kraken. I made it 100 pages in, and when I tell y'all, this book is toxic. The guy that's the Kraken is toxic. He's like stalking her. So I was kind of saying how he's toxic. He's like stalking her. There is a couple scenes in the book where he's just literally following her home and watching her get undressed and then like driving away and like wanking off in his car. No. And I just got to the point where they went on a date and she never gave him his address or her phone number, and he just shows up at her door and she doesn't really question it. She's like, oh, how'd you know where I lived? And he goes, oh, I did some researching. I called your realtor and they gave me your address. No, they wouldn't have. I don't think any realtor would have given out a private residence's address just over the phone to anyone that called. That is crazy. That is crazy shit. That's how it's going. And they haven't had like tentacles sex yet. I think we're about to get to there. But it's like, it does have a plot. The plot is that she's a reporter who is about to lose her job, and she only has 6 weeks to find some kind of news breaking article to make people be attentive to the newspaper, or she's outsies. So she's trying to get some kind of good article, and she thinks that an article about a hidden Kraken that she might have saw in the aquarium is going to do it. And the hidden Kraken is the guy that she is getting help from. And she doesn't know that he's the Kraken. And someone that he believes lives in the area apparently murdered his mom and sister when he was a baby. And he's been hunting them for decades. So he is there to
hunt that guy down, and then they just so happen to see each other at the aquarium, and he's like instantly in love with her, instantly wants her. She's like, oh, he's kind of attractive, but I'm not in the place to date. So the mating bond is like not both ways currently. It's just him, and it's coming off very toxic. He's like, I want her. I need her. I shouldn't be looking at her, but no one can look at her. And I need to be away from her, but I can't stop going to her house and watching her get undressed. And I need to go wank off, but I feel so bad for wanking off to her. And it's crazy, guys. Like, this is not the kind of love that I'd ever want. And I don't really love that this is how it's being portrayed in this book so toxically before. And I haven't even gotten to the actual sex. The part that I just read, they were on a date, but she canceled the date. She's like, oh, I can't really date. And he's like, well, I want to stick around anyways and get to know you. So she does let him into her house, and she starts drinking. And then once she's drunk, he tries to get information out of her. Red flag. And then he kisses her. Red flag number 2. Like, she's not sober, and you're manipulating her in her drunken state. Automatically disgusting. I'm not even rooting for this guy, but Friday says that there is some so wild stuff that comes up. So I'm just going to finish the book because it's going by pretty fast, and I'll just react to this crazy stuff, and we'll just get through it together. But right now it's like a 3 because it's not healthy. It's not healthy at all. Yeah, I'm going to do some more reading tomorrow because I have to stream tonight. So I'll be back tomorrow to give you a more update. Hi. It is the next day, the next evening, I guess I should say, and I need to rant about this book. I'm not finished yet, but I just need to have like a bit of a stream of consciousness with you guys because this guy is a walking red flag, and I don't understand how the main character isn't concerned in any kind of way. I don't really know what I said in my last clip, so I'm kind of just going to start like with my points of like why he's so toxic. First of all, he is stalking her. He even tells her that he's stalking her at one point, and she's like, why does that kind of turn me on? I don't know why that turns you on. I don't know why that turns you on. He like watches her get dressed without her knowing. He follows her to work, follows her to the donation center. He follows her to her home. He follows her to her dinners. He literally quits his job to follow her. Because he's like, oh, well, we're mates, so I need to keep an eye on her at all times. No, that's just fucking weird. I did Google it because Friday told me that he thought this was a dark romance, and I did Google it, and apparently it is considered dark romance. But it is wrote so weird compared to other dark romances that I read. In other dark romances I read, they have like overarching dark themes. Like there'll be like killing and murder, and the stalking will be like a part of it. And then there'll be like a ton of really kinky, smutty sex that's happening. And there's usually like a lot of things that are dark going into a dark romance. This is like the only dark thing that I'm seeing. So I don't know if this is enough to classify as a dark romance to me. This just might be portrayed as a toxic relationship romance story to me personally. And it's giving me the ick so bad. Because there's no killing, really. There's no like violence. There's no kinky smut. Like I've literally read 290 pages. We literally just got to the first smut scene like maybe 30 pages ago. So like I'm almost 70% of the way and we just got to the smut. So it's like it's not clicking like all the dark romance boxes. This is more clicking like a really bad, toxic, unhealthy relationship story. And I hate it. I don't hate it like I'm going to DNF it, but like I hate this man. Like I can't even root for him. Like, sometimes in dark romances, you feel really bad for the main character because they usually have, like, a really tragic backstory, or, like, they make you really want to sympathize with them, and, like, you feel some kind of, like, rooting for them to get the girl. I don't want him to get the girl. I actually like the girl to call the cops on him and him to go to jail. I would really love for him to leave her alone permanently. And I think that is, like, ruining the book for me. And I'm not even to the worst part yet. Friday said that something really weird happens that everyone in Ali's chat, when he told everyone in Ali's chat what this was, they all were like, what the fuck? So I haven't gotten to that part yet. I don't think so, at least. I still have 150 pages left. It's probably coming up. But I just can't get over the level of stalking. And that's like the only dark theme. And to me, that's not enough to categorize it as a dark romance. So it's just like really icky to me. Like it's really, really icky. And he comes off as like a very good boyfriend everywhere else. Like he's attentive and he's caring and he's nice and he cooks for her and he shows up for her and he comforts her, and then he's just low-key stalking her, but she's into it. So like I can't really say that like it's not okay. I'm just saying that I don't like it. I personally don't like the main male character. And if a man told me that he was stalking me all day long and that he had quit his job to stalk me, because he admits it, I literally would have been like, yeah, 911, there's someone stalking me. She's like, I love this. It's so nice. She's like, she literally says, like, oh, it's so nice that a man wants to take care of me. Girl, I need you to pick your expectations of men off the floor and raise them. Please. You deserve so much better than a man who is doing this. And I feel like I know what the weird thing is going to be. Just from, like, where the story is getting set up. Like, apparently, the Kraken is, like, a different part of his soul, and it can come out. And when it's breeding time, he, like, paralyzes people temporarily to breed them. And I think that's going to happen, and it's going to be, like, a bit of, like, a non-consensual sex scene. And I'm kind of worried about that, but also there's just a bunch of weird things that have already happened. Like, I don't know. I don't know. But, like, I'm just, like, the bad thing is I don't want to put it down. Like, I have the power to enough, but I don't want to. I'm, like, it's, like, so bad that I want to know how this is going to go. Because it's a 440-page book. Like, I thought this was going to be a smut story, and that's not all I thought it was going to be. We've barely gotten smut. And I am so intrigued to what's going to happen to justify a 440-page book. I just think that this has the potential to go very wrong. And I might really regret finishing the book. Or I might be like, you know what, that wasn't so bad. And I might give it a high rating. I know Friday told me that he gave it a 4-star, and I was like, that's really generous to me. And he was like, oh, well, 4 stars means that it wasn't for me, but it's for someone else. That's 3 stars for me. If I'm giving a book a 4-star, that means I personally liked it. And 5 stars mean I want it to be tattooed on my brain, and I want to remember it for everyone and everything, and every day of my life, I want to remember this book. A 3-star is like, okay, that wasn't for me, but I see potential in it. That's where this book is falling. I'm sure there's some kind of audience out there that would really love a Kraken to be stalking them. Because I love tentacle stuff. Like, I was actually really excited for this. I was like, oh my god, I love things with tentacles. That's kind of hot. That's kind of spicy. And then it's, like, not actually going the way I imagined. Because they made it so that the fact that his tentacles have a mind of their own and he can't control them, and the tentacles will just randomly reach out and like grab her and pick her up, and like they like anytime the tentacles grab her, it's always so hard enough that she gets left with bruises and like tentacle imprints. And I don't want to bash like on dark romance readers, because I am one myself. I do dabble into that. But once again, this is like a very basic romance / fantasy book with just stalking in it. And I think it's weird that there's not more dark elements, but maybe the dark elements are going to come in the last 150 pages. So like maybe I come in tomorrow because I'm finishing it tomorrow. Maybe I come back tomorrow and I'm like, oh my god, guys, that was the best thing ever. Like, I'm so glad I finished it. Or I might come in tomorrow and be like, what the fuck is wrong with this man? No one ever read this again. Because Friday said that he didn't give it to me because it's a good book. He gave it to me to see my reaction to it. And actually, funny enough, I got a rash reading this book. Literally this morning when I started reading this book, I literally broke out in a rash on my arm. You can see that's a coincidence, but I think the book is genuinely fucking stressing me out because I hate the man, and I'm like, please. I can't even root for him. And I just think, like, making it so that his tentacles are, like, I thought he was going to be, like, a shifter, and he had control over his tentacles, and he has control over his Kraken. They made it to be where he has no control over the Kraken, and he has no control over the tentacles, and if he does have any kind of control, it's very, very minimum, and he's not always able to fight it. And I do think that means I'm gonna get scenes where the Kraken just randomly takes advantage of her without her consent, and then he bites her, and then they have sex without her consent, and she's never had sex before. And I just think that it's gonna be like borderline rapey, is what I'm a little worried about. Especially since Friday says that everyone in Allie's chat was like, what the fuck? But they do like explain to you the whole breeding thing, and essentially like it has to be done in a really wet condition, and they have to paralyze you, because if they put it into your straight into your belly growing baby growing bits. Why am I blanking on the word? The cervix. They put it straight into your cervix, and if you're moving, it can be really dangerous. So I'm essentially thinking that she's gonna get breeded without her consent, which I don't think I'm gonna love. I'm all about breeding if the woman's down for it and her consent is given. And if she gives her consent like prior to it, she's like, you know what, if the Kraken ever takes over, I'm down for it. If she does that, okay, it's doable. But if the Kraken just randomly takes over and she gets absolutely no say into it, I'm gonna have a bit of a problem. That they're making the main character to be a bit, I don't know the word that I want to use here, but they're making her seem like she is incompetent. Like she needs to be protected at all costs. Like she got moved out of her house. He made her quit her job. He is making her live with him, and it's all for the, I'm going to protect you, honey, and no one can get to you because you're going to be with me all the time. And it's like, that's not protective. That's fucking creepy. That's manipulative. That's a hostage situation. Why don't we call it what it is? This whole thing of, oh, I'm protecting. Who are you protecting? It definitely, I don't feel protected proceeding forward. I just think it's making him come off like very macho, bracho, savior of the day, that she can't possibly take care of herself, that she needs a man in her life. And I just don't like that narrative. I don't think any man should do that at all. I think men should be there to uplift their women, not like lock them up and protect them. I don't like that in books. Don't like that in real life. Don't like them in books. In books, I like when the man is like, you know what? You're a badass. I'm badass too, so let me come behind you and support you in what you're doing and have your back. That's what I like. I don't like this whole, you can't have a job because I can't protect you. You can't have a life because then I won't be able to protect you all the time. Like this, essentially like locking them into a cage is not how you love someone. And I need to shut up because I still have 100 pages left and anything could happen. I just, like, this is bothering me so bad that people go through this, and it's just icky to me. It's just icky to me that, I don't know, because I don't think it should be I don't think there's enough dark elements to categorize it as a dark romance to me. Like, I don't, at least not yet. I think if you just have one dark thing in a book, that's not a dark romance. That's just a fucking, I don't know. What's the word? Rage bait? No. What's the word? What's the word that I'm looking for? It's like when you just do it to get out a reaction of someone. What's the word that I'm looking for? Oh, it's like on the tip of my tongue. Like, not jump scare. Oh my god, I can't remember it. It's essentially like you do something in a book or a movie or a show just to invoke a certain reaction out of someone. And it doesn't add to the plot. It doesn't add to the story. It's just there to get that reaction. That's kind of how it's feeling to me. Like, this isn't a dark romance. This is just, I think a dark moment's gonna happen to, like, I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna be finishing it tomorrow. It says I only have an hour and a half left, and I'm pretty free tomorrow, so hopefully I'll be checking in by tomorrow afternoon. I don't think I'm gonna give it anything above a 3 at this point. Like, I'm even leaning towards just 2.75. Because I want to know what's gonna happen with the plot, because the plot, he's there hunting a vampire that may or may not have killed his family. Also, he's old as shit. I can't believe I haven't mentioned this yet. He's like 546 years old. Something insane like that. And I know that age gaps exist. Like, she's 30. Like, it's definitely, like, she's a legal consenting adult. I just think that's what makes it so much worse, that the whole macho bratcher thing, because it feels like he's treating her more like a child that can't take care of herself. Like, what's the word? Infantilism? Infantilizing? Infinitely italicizing? I don't know the words today. Apparently, I just don't know them, but, I think that's what makes it so weird that he's treating her like this, because if he was a normal person, like a 30-year-old would make, like, that would be a totally normal relationship. But he's 546 and she is 30, and I think there's a bit like of a power struggle there with the two of them. And I'm trying to think of anything else that I want to say. Also, that poor kid that is her nephew, he's going to be so traumatized when he grows up. He has seen way too much for a child to be seeing. Okay, Hawaii, I am back. It is the next day, the next evening, and I have in fact finished the book. I can't say that I loved it, and I don't want to rant about the same things that I ran about yesterday, so I took some notes of things that I wanted to talk about with you guys. And this is so heavily spoilers because I was just so pissed off at this book. I think I'm going to be giving this a 2.75, which is I think the lowest one I've rated, but I did write some notes. Okay. I have 3 main things I want to talk about. The first one being, he can remember himself in the womb, which is incredibly disturbing to, like, know. He says that his father passed all of his memories to him, so he remembers getting created. So he has memories of his mom and dad screwing. And then he also has memories of him being inside of her stomach. And he has memories of his birth. That is really fucking creepy. And I don't think I needed this visual literally whatsoever. That could have just not been mentioned, or not mentioned in so much detail. The author could have just been like, you know what, I have so many memories, and left it at that. She did not tell us, they did not have to tell us that he remembers his mom and dad boinking and what it was like to be literally inside of her stomach. That was TMI. Second thing I want to talk about is the monster grade birth control. So I got to the weird smut scenes, and I kind of was on the right track, but it wasn't really without her consent. She does lose her virginity to the Kraken. He does bite and paralyze her and breed her, but she kind of was like super into it, which I don't understand at all. But she was like, yeah, I want you to screw me in every hole with every tentacle, totally, for my very first time. No poem whatsoever. And afterwards, she realizes that she is his mate, and she's like, well, I have a secret of my own. And he's like, what could it possibly be? That's bigger than, me being your mate. She goes, I'm on monster grade birth control since I was 18. This isn't me, like, shitting on birth control. This is just me confused as to why this character is on birth control. This character was a virgin at her age of 30, whatever. She's terrified of getting pregnant. But you don't typically get on birth control unless there's, like, an actual risk of being pregnant. Like, you're, like, sexually active. This character was just never having sex, but she was so terrified of the potential of, like, I don't know if she thought she was gonna be fucking Mary and Jesus and have, like, a miracle conception or what, but she's like, I've been on monster grade birth control. Like, monsters can't, unless she just thought that a monster was gonna attack her or something, which is really fucking ironic if that's the case, because then she ends up being with the monster, but she makes such a big deal about it. And it's literally called the monster grade birth control. And we're just like, what the hell? What the hell? The third thing is, this all takes place in, like, less than a month. They meet, they become mates, they move in together, he becomes super protective in less than a month, which is a crazy short timeline in my opinion. And I just think my overall thoughts of the book is that it is too much information. Way too much information that the author definitely could have just withheld from us. They were acting like we were besties with the main characters. They were telling us explicit details about their birth control, what it was like being in the womb, what they do to breed. And it was just, like, way too much information that I don't even want to know from my besties. Like, I talk a lot with my besties about all kinds of different topics, but if my bestie looked at me one day and said, I remember what it was like to be in a womb, I would be really fucking creeped out. And that's essentially how I feel about this book. Is I'm like, what the hell? The entire time. I don't think any part of it is good. I don't think there was a single scene where I was like, oh, I really like that. No. No. The only reason why I'm giving it a 2.75 is because I did like the plot of like him being there to investigate a murder of his mom and sister, and it's this secret secluded of vampire, and she helps him because as a news reporter. That was a very interesting plot. We didn't get very much of it. Instead of giving us actual plot, she gave us like guess who information. The game like Guess Who, where you're like, does your character have this? Let's imagine what I'm imagining. Like, imagine the game of it, like, of Guess Who, and it's like, does your character remember what it's like to be in the womb? If so, I know who you have. It's like the author was preparing us for a pop quiz of, like, weird information of the characters. I also think that her family is absolutely horrible, and I was actually hoping that bad things happen to them. They're mean. They're controlling. They tell her that she has no prospects in life. They said that it's her responsibility to carry the family. And I'm like, fucking excuse me? It is not the daughter's responsibility to carry the family. You don't have kids just to carry on your family. Like, you shouldn't have kids just to make them be all of the responsibilities of the family. That's on the mom and dad. Like, it's their responsibility a lot of the times. And yes, she is like a 30-year-old, but I just mean like them being like, oh, she's the responsibility of the entire family. Like, she's carrying everything on her shoulders. That is insane. She's the youngest child. If it should be any child, should be the oldest child because they were the first into existence. I just think that I don't like this book. And yesterday I mentioned how I don't think this is a dark romance book, and I kind of still stand by that because not really much else dark stuff happens other than the stalking and the like paralyzing sex moments. And I just. Oh, also something else that really fucking gave me the ick. After they have sex the first time, she literally says, and I'm not lying to you guys, she literally says, I want you to assault me every single day. I feel like we could be using different words. It's totally valid to want to have sex every day. I'm not yucking anyone's yams about sex lives. I just think that there are better words that could be used because assault has a very negative connotation to it. And when you say, I want you to assault me every day, that sounds like you're getting sexed without your actual consent and permission, and that's just not the right words that I think should have been used, because she was down and willing. She was like, yeah, put your tentacles in me. Please bite me. That's not what you would use the word assault with. And I just think that's what pisses me off so much. I think this was trying to be a dark romance, and I think instead it's just a poorly written, toxic book. Like, I don't think this is for the dark romance girlies. I don't. As a dark romance girly, this kind of really pissed me off. It was like a wannabe. It was like trying to act like it's not something. And I just think that the author really, really, really could work on how they word things if they don't mean them in negative connotations. I also found out this is like a 4-book series. There's the one about the siren. There's one about the orcs. There's one about the minotaurs. And Peace Cat's like, you should read all of them. You'd have to pay me. You'd literally have to pay me. Yeah, the actual quote is, I want to be assaulted by the Kraken every day until I die with pleasure. And then another quote is, here I am now, wondering if my Kraken mate would slide his hands up my thigh if I parted my legs, eating a taco on a Thursday, unemployed and free. Girl, I'm begging you, get a fucking life. And the last quote that I'll read out that really gave me the fucking ick was, they have a joking moment between the two of them, and he says, a 526-year-old man finding every excuse to kiss a woman who isn't even 30 yet, not creepy at all. He says playfully, no, you're not, that's not playfully, that's just fucking creepy. That's just fucking creepy. You're just being fucking creepy. There's no playing around about that. Like, you are acting like she's a child that needs your protection. I said I wouldn't talk about this again, but there was another quote that happened today in today's reading, so I'm justified in bringing this up. And he says, you know I'm not a good man and you want me anyways. And then actually, one more. The very end of the book, he says, "Careful, little virgin." She's not even a virgin anymore. "You wouldn't want to awaken the monster inside me." And she goes, "Oh, yes, I would." And that's the end of the fucking book. It's not the worst book I've ever read. It does have a kind of interesting plot. You would have to pay me to read the other books, though. Like, if you want me to read the other books, you better go subscribe to me on Twitch and give me some fucking money. Because I'm not doing that willingly. Like, maybe it'll be a charity incentive one day where if you help me raise money, I'll read the rest of these weird ass fucking books. You ain't gonna get me to do it willingly, though, with my own fucking time and money and effort, because those were horrible. Friday said he wanted to have me have a reaction. I'm having a reaction, all right. I'm actually contemplating my ever desire in men. Like, I'm genuinely creeped out. There was no way I could root for this character. I was actually hoping he kind of died. I knew he wouldn't die, but I was kind of hoping that bad things would happen to him. He would get locked up. Because at one point, he does go to jail because he beats someone up. I was like, keep him locked up. Keep him locked up. No, he gets out because she goes and saves him. She's like, "Oh my God, my man's in jail. I need to go bail him out." And I just want to reiterate, because I have been going on for now so fucking long, just for me to really, really iterate. I have nothing against dark romance readers. I have nothing against people that like sex. I have nothing against people that like smut. I have nothing against anyone who likes to do anything weird. That's not what my problem is. My problem is with this author and her writing and this specific book. That's my issue. I'm now only having one book left to read, and it's a complete change to this one because it's a cute little Cthulhu Cat manga. It will be hopefully way better than this one, and that's technically my last book of Friday Frights. I am going to read a bonus book because I have a little bit of extra time. I did have 3 bonus books, but I'm not going to get to them, but I have selected one. I'm going to be reading The Imaginary Corpse. So the Cthulhu Cat is only 100 pages. I'm going to read that tomorrow on Friday. And then I will spend Saturday, Sunday, and Monday reading the bonus book because I'm so busy I can't read a whole lot each day. I'm lucky to be averaging around 100 pages. So those are my thoughts about Bad Kraken. I'm giving it a 2.75. I'm also contemplating my taste in smut and if I'll ever take a smut recommendation from Friday ever again. But that's all I'm going to say for now. Tomorrow is my anniversary with Cameron, so I'm going to wake up a little bit early to get ready, and I'm going to try to read Cthulhu Cat before we even leave for our anniversary. So you'll see me tomorrow. So I'll see you guys then. Hi, hello. It is October 25th, and I have officially finished the 12 books that I promised Friday that I would read this month. So Friday Frights, Mooing with Friends, Part 2, whatever you want to call it, is technically now over. But there is still like 6 days left in the month. So I'm actually going to do one bonus book. So as you guys know, I had the 3 books that I said was maybes. It was Mistborn, The Polar Bears Explorers Club, and The Imaginary Corpse. I don't have time to read all 3 of them. So I have chosen to read The Imaginary Corpse because it's a bit more on theme for like of Halloween in October. It's like 400 pages, so I think I'm going to read like 100 pages a day. And hopefully well, it's actually 300 pages, I think. So I'm going to read like 100 pages a day. And I would start today on Saturday, and then I'd probably be finished with it on Monday. Because I do want a bit of a break to edit. I don't want to be reading any because I want to be able to edit this video and other videos that I'm working on. So that's the plan. Imaginary Corpse is a mystery, and I'm really excited. But I have to give you the review of Cthulhu Cat. That is the last book that I had to read for Friday Frights, and it's actually really ironic because we started with a Cthulhu book, and now we're ending on a Cthulhu book. And that is so ironic and iconic, and I'll be giving it a 5-star. It is a manga. It's super cute, super silly. It kind of is like, the following. It's kind of following the story of Cthulhu, but they're cats. And it's talking about the fact that they're the great gods, and they've chosen to be cats this time around. And they still have their powers, they're just in cat form, and whoever is the cutest gets to essentially rule the world as they want. So the guy keeps just collecting more cats. Cats just keep showing up. And it is like super, super cute. I love the graphic style. This is also a comic, like the first one was. I much, much prefer this one. It was in color. It was really easy to read. It was very designed great. I had no problems understanding the pictures. So I'll be giving it 5 stars. What a great way to end the original 12 with a 5 star. I have no idea what I might give Imaginary Corpse, but it is a mystery, so it'll be a good one to finish off with. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this. This one's going to be longer than the first one because I have yapped more, especially over one book. You already know the book if you're at this point. So I'm going to go start the Imaginary Corpse, and I'll probably check in like maybe every day, like if I'm doing 100 pages today. So I'll probably check in later this evening to give you the first update, unless there's something that I want to react to before the 100 pages mark. And then I'll be back tomorrow and then on Monday to give the actual wrap up. I cannot believe the end of October is like already here. That is totally bonkers. So I'll be back to tell you about the Imaginary Corpse. Okay, I'm here to talk about the Imaginary Corpse. It's been longer than a day. I don't know if I'm getting sick or bad allergies or what, but I'm like exhausted in like a sick way. Like not in like a, oh, I'm so tired, I didn't get enough sleep. Like in a like a full body exhausted like flu feeling, but I don't have any other symptoms. So I don't know what's happening to me other than like I have a stuffy nose. So it might just be allergies, but it hit me like a freight train. And I slept for like 4 hours yesterday, like a 4-hour nap, and then I did read, and then I did my Twilight marathon, and then I like slept throughout the night until like 12 hours later. So I essentially just haven't had time to talk to you about this book yet. So I'm here now. I read about 100 pages, and I don't really know how I feel about the Imaginary Corpse. It's like interesting, but it's like not necessarily grabbing me. Like it's not really feeling like a 5-star to me yet. And I don't really know how to explain it in a good way. Essentially, the Imaginary Corpse is about these ideas that were like based off of someone's imagination, but then they get kicked out of the imagination and they go to like this still universe where like they still exist as those ideas. So like, for example, the main character is a detective dinosaur, and his person that he was attached to, she gave him his name, she gave him his identity. Well, one day there is an accident and I think she passes away, I think. So when that happens, like something traumatic happens or they like can kick you out themselves, you get like ripped away from your person. And if you're like really real, like if that person has like imagined you like to a next level, you don't just like dissipate, you're still a thing. So you have to go somewhere, so you can go, and they like, I don't know the exact word, like they call it like the still world, still universe, I don't know, I can't think of the name off the top of my head. But it's like all these different places, like idea places, where these ideas exist separate from the person, and they can't really die, they just come back, and this detective he's originally investigating the mystery around screaming corn stalks, because he goes to this guy's farm and the corn stalks are like screaming, and he's like, what is going on here? But then the screaming corn stalks ends up actually being tied to what they call a nightmare, which is where like it's the same thing as an idea, but like a dark version of it, obviously, that is staying in that area. And then there ends up being like a whole murder mystery that comes about this. And I'm not saying it's a bad book right now. I'd say it's like a 4-star. I think it's an interesting idea. I love the idea of a detective dinosaur stuffed animal. There are stuffed animals. Like, he's a stuffed animal, like, pretty much. But there's, like, superhero ones, and there's, like, villains, and I don't know. It's, like, a really cute book. Kind of reminds me of a movie that I read Kind of reminds me of a movie that I've watched recently, and I cannot think the name of it, but like, I can visualize it. It's, like, a guy with a pen and purple monsters. I don't know. But I don't know if I'm gonna finish it on Monday. Today is Sunday, and I slept for 12 hours. Had an issue, a real life issue that I had to take care of. My water heater decided to take a leak all over my floor in the middle of the night, and I didn't catch it until the next day. So there was water everywhere, and it was still actively leaking. And then my dad ended up coming and fixing it, and that literally took. Like, this happened when I first woke up, so, like, 10:30, and, like, it wasn't really solved until, like, 1. And I was telling my mom, I was like, oh my god, this has ruined my whole Sunday routine, and now I feel like the day is ruined and I need to go to sleep and just wake up tomorrow and try again. And my mom's like, no, like, just take a nap and like kind of do like a little refresh of your mind. So I did sleep for like an hour, hour and a half, and then I read some more, and I'm updating you guys now. And I'm gonna come back when I get to 200 pages, around that mark, to give you another update. I don't know if that will be later today. I don't know if that will be tomorrow, but I'm doing my best. And I did plan some bumper room to, like, if I can't edit the video on Monday, I can always just edit it throughout the days on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. It would just be harder to do it on those days because I'm also streaming and working. So, like, getting it done on Monday was, like, the best option. But, like, if I can't do it, it's okay. I have until Friday. And it's not a super long book. It's just getting my brain to cooperate and me not feel so icky-wicky sleep. So, yeah, I might be checking in a little bit. But I know Friday really loved this book, and he said it was like a silly, goofy, fun time, and so I'm excited to like get more into it and maybe see what he's seeing, and maybe I'll end up giving it a 5-star. I would love to give the last book a 5-star. Really, truly, I would love to end on a 5-star, but I'm not gonna give a 5-star just for the 5-star sake. Okay, it's gotta earn it. So let's see. We'll find out together. Okay. Hi. Good morning. It is Tuesday. I did finish the book last night, so I'm going to be giving The Imaginary Corpse 4 stars. I was really close to giving it a 5-star at one point, but then something happened at the end that I really did not like and kind of made me uncomfortable. I'm going to get into that, and it kind of made me lower it back down to a 4-star. When I was doing my last clip, I was like, I don't really know how to explain this. It's because I didn't know what was going on yet, but I think there's a part of the book that really explains the plot very well, and I'm just gonna read that from the book because it's not spoilers. It just explains the concept of these characters in such a good way that I can't think of a better way to say it. Like, I could try, but this is such the best way of doing it. So, very few of our people don't want us anymore. Usually they just can't have us. We're not here because people grew up or moved on. We're here because things happen. Things that made it so our people just stopped thinking that we made sense. Some of them realized the world didn't work the way they thought. Some of us, whatever happened made us painful to think about. And some of us, it was that whatever happened was so horrible, our people couldn't be anything like what they used to be, and that included us. It happens all the time. We're just the ones who are too real to disappear. We just aren't real enough to protect them. It wasn't our fault. We're real. That means we're important enough to keep existing. That means we're amazing. And I think that like is a really good way of explaining it, because I was trying. I was like, they pretty much are like imaginations, but like their person believed them so much that they exist, but they have been torn away from their person for some kind of reason. It can be traumatic. It can be like they stop believing in them, or like something happened to them to make them stop believing in them, or like they stop making sense. And I think that does a great job of explaining it in the ways that I couldn't find the words to explain it the other day. And it did end up being like a really, really fun story. And even though I'm not giving it 5 stars, I think it's going to really stand out to me as a really good book because it has such a unique plot. I mean, I've never read a book about a detective that's a dinosaur stuffed animal who has tea parties with a spider hand and fights crime with all these like random animal creations. They're not even animals sometimes, they're just random creations. And I do think that it will really stand out in my memory from now on. The reason why I'm not giving it 5 stars is because there is a bad guy, obviously, and this bad guy is killing these people, these friends. That's what they're called. They're called friends. That's what they call themselves. And he's killing these people, and no one knows why. And the whole book, we're trying to figure out why. We're trying to figure out how to stop him. And at the end, he does get stopped. And this is spoilers. I have to say it so that like I have to say these spoilers to talk about what made me uncomfortable. So if you want to read this book, stop listening here now. We find out that he is the friend of a serial killer. Like he is he was the imagination tied to a serial killer. And that's why he's been doing these things, is because that's what his person created him for. Like his person created him in his mind, whatever, to be killing these people, to take out witnesses, to run from the police. Like he's been doing all those things, and the dinosaur detective figures out to stop him by just saying, "You're under arrest, stop moving." because he says killers get caught. That's what happens. And that's how they catch the bad guy, is just by saying those words of like, oh, stop what you're doing. You're under arrest. And I kind of was already like, I don't really like that. And then it gets even worse because they put him in jail. And the dinosaur detective comes up to him and is like, you know what else killers can do? Killers can reform. And that made me really uncomfortable. Not that, people can't do justice for their crimes and make up for it one day, but I mean, this person literally was put into jail like not even 10 minutes ago. And the detective is like, I know you killed a bunch of people and we literally just caught you after days of trying to catch you, but you can be good, buddy. Do you want some tea? That made me kind of really uncomfortable and kind of made me feel like they're like romanticizing serial killers in a way. That's kind of how it came off to me. And that's not how it came off to Friday, because Friday gave this book 5 stars and had so much fun with it. And I was having so much fun with it too until this part. And then I was like, I don't really like that logic. I do believe in justice and reformation. I do believe people can change. I just think that they have to serve for their crimes. And this person hadn't even been serving yet. He hadn't even seen a judge yet, I don't think. And he wasn't released or anything. I just think it's kind of crazy that's how the book ends, is him being like, you can be good. And I Googled it, and there is supposed to be a second book. And I kind of worry that in the second book, the serial killer friend would be portrayed as a good person in that book, and I would not read it if that is how it's going to be happening. Obviously, that came out 5 years ago, and that book hasn't came out, but to my understanding, there is plans for one. And that's just personal opinion. I don't really do the true crime stuff at all. It makes me uncomfortable. It makes me feel like we're not taking those things serious, and we really shouldn't express interest in the serial killer or true crime stuff. That's just my personal opinion. And I just think that it was kind of icky to me that this person has killed people. His person that he's attached to has been killing people. So many victims. And then him as the imagination thing, he's been killing the other imagination things for days. So many victims for 4 months apparently. And for you to finally catch him and be like, oh, killers can reform. And it's just okay, I understand what you were trying to go for. I just think that maybe could have been said in the future when he had served some time, or when he had showed some grief about the situation, or regret or remorse. I mean, the guy hadn't even been in jail for a day before he was talking to him. And I kind of just hated that. And the whole stop what you're doing, you're under arrest. And they were like, oh yeah, killers get caught. Killers don't always get caught. And I know what they're trying to do. I do think this book is targeted for YA. Let me check. No, it's not targeted towards. Okay. I see what they were trying to do about killers always get caught, the bad guys never win. That's actually not true. You would not believe the number of crimes that have gone unsolved. And I really took personal nitpicking to that, because they could have just not said that, and they could have just left it at, oh, we caught him. But they made a point of being killers get caught. That's what happens. That's the realistic thing. No, that's not realistic at all, actually. So many killers aren't found until technically they will probably eventually get caught, but there are so many unsolved murders that I kind of was and also I can't think of maybe many serial killers that would just stop and let you arrest them. Typically, when you know that the police is coming after you, you're running and trying to get away from them. And when you do get caught, you do kind of make some kind of attempt to escape. This character, as soon as the words are stop, you're under arrest, he just stops. Because I guess that's what's supposed to happen in the world, so that he's tied to those rules. And that's all goody great and a bubble pop dream world that apparently they think they live in. But like as a reader, I was like, that makes no sense to me. Like that's so fucking stupid, if you want my honest opinion. So I'm not giving it was so close to being a 5 stars because it was making me emotional. There was a bunch of scenes where I was kind of tearing up and I was like, oh my god, I'm really into the story. And then we had those two things happen right at the end. It's kind of how the book actually ends. And I was like, we didn't need those. We didn't need those. If those wouldn't have been in there, I would have gave it a 5 star. Since those things are in there, they just personally make me uncomfortable. And I can see the other side of the argument of like, oh, well, like they were just saying like that's how it's supposed to be in this imagination world, and that's they're not tied to like what things that we would be doing. And I get the argument. I just think that as a reader, I just couldn't get behind that logic. And if in the next book he is like the good guy, I might literally boycott. I'm gonna be pissed. So, because you can't spend a whole book, this is the last thing I'll say about it, you can't spend a whole book making us hate a character, villainizing this character, telling us that he's a killer, telling us that he's taking out all these really sweet, innocent people, and then at the very end be like, okay, well, handshake, do you want a root beer? Like, do you want to be the good guy next time? And it's like, what? Like, you just spent this whole book making us hate him. You can't just turn around and bat your eyes and think that we're going to love him. That's just not how the way the world works. So that's it. That is the end of this video. Before we wrap it up, I'm going to go over like my overview, how many books I read, my stats, my favorite book that I read, how things went. And yes, I am in a Twilight shirt. I love showing off my stupid shirts when I'm on YouTube. Okay. So it's time for the stats. We have finished the month. I'm really excited, and now it's to get into like the actual October wrap-up side of it. So I read a total of 21 books, and I know what you're thinking. I thought you only read 13 for Friday. That's because during a 24-hour vlog, I read all of the Tiny Terrors that I hadn't caught up on because I'm in a book club that's like horror, scary, spooky, and with some of my friends, and I'm really behind. Like, I don't think I've read a book since like maybe April. And I decided, since my friend Allie was hosting a 24-hour readathon, and she's the host of the book club, I went ahead and read all the Tiny Terrors that I had missed, and then I also just read through the rest of the year. So I ended up reading 8 books in like a 24-hour-ish time span of actually reading. I'm not going to talk about those books in this video because I have an entire 24-hour reading vlog coming out after this next week that will dive into all those books, my true feelings, my ratings, my reviews. I just wanted to kind of explain why the number is different than what you've been hearing about throughout this video of like, oh, I'm only going to read 13. And then I was like, I read 21. I'm sure there would have been some kind of confusion. So I did read 8 Tiny Terror books that will be talked about in the video next week. Then I did read 13 out of 15 that Friday gave me. The other 2 I'm putting on a TBR list to read ASAP, priority for next year. That way I still get to Friday's other picks. It's just not crammed into this video and this rest of the month because I still have a couple of days. I just am feeling really burnt out lately, and I have some sleep debt that I'm trying to work through. So I've decided to take the rest of the month off from YouTube and reading and, well, streaming, kind of. I took some days off that I was supposed to, and I kind of changed some things around. I just think that I had a really busy September and I didn't really rest after that. And then I think I kind of just plowed myself through October and I was like, oh, I'll be fine. Like, I'll be fine. And then I had like a day off from work for my anniversary and I was so exhausted. And then I had Saturday and Sunday and I slept through most of them. I've already kind of said this. So I definitely think I am dealing with some burnout that I kind of have left a bit unresolved. And I'm going to take, like, I'm going to be editing a little bit each day because I have to, but, like, I'm not going to film anything new. I'm not going to read anything new for a video. I'm not going to read anything new at all. I think I'm just going to take the next couple of days to just kind of have a brain break, sleep as much as I want, maybe watch some YouTube videos. I'm going to watch some Dancing with the Stars because I really liked who they have on the show this year. Maybe I'll get into some Love Island for the first time. I think I need to kind of shut my brain off. And I do love reading, and reading isn't a chore for me. I just think that when I'm burning out, I kind of just keep shoving myself into hobbies, and I think I need to take a step back and just be like, okay, it's time to just lay and not think. Because reading does take thinking. I mean, when you work all day long and then you still have to read, not have to read, but you're still choosing to read, that's taking spoons from you, like spoons that you may or may not have. And I definitely think that I don't have the spoons currently. So even though it's the 28th and I could possibly still read one more book, I'm just not going to. I'm just I have enough footage for the next 2 weeks of so that I can just not film anything else for some time, because I have to plan 3 trips by November 14th because of just reasons that I'll get into another day. And I know that's going to take a lot of brain energy. So I'm essentially going to rest until November 1st. And then on November 1st, I'll actually start planning for those things. Anyways, this is like not what you care about at all. I'm just kind of giving you like an update of like why I'm not reading the rest of the month when I definitely could be. So let's run through. So this is obviously Friday Frights Part 2. I'm going to just go ahead and run through all the books that I've read this month in case maybe you didn't watch part 1 or maybe you need a recap because it's been like literally so many hours of watching that you're like, what did you read? I'm just going to run through all 13 books that I read. I'll give you what I rated it, and then I'll tell you what my favorite book of the month was, which I haven't even picked out yet because there were so many good ones. I read a total of 3,810 pages. I listened to 6.5 hours of an audiobook, and my average rating was a 3.99, which is super fucking low for me. I'm kind of in shock. I read 14 horror books, apparently. No, not 14, sorry. 13 horror books, which I know some of those are Tiny Terrors, but what a nice little mix. And now onto the actual books. I read The Call of the Cthulhu, and I gave that a 3.5. I read The Lonely Heart of Maybelle Lane, and I gave that a 5-star. I read Mort, which I gave a 4.5. I read Sewer Sharks, which I gave a 5. I read The Cotton Candy Massacre, which I gave a 4. I read Werepuffer, which I chose not to rate because I literally would not have nice things to say. And then I read The Serpents of Sky and Flame, which I'm giving 4 stars. I read The Cabin at the End of the World, and I gave that 3. I read Hyde and Dark Harvest next, and I gave both of those books 5 stars. And then it's a bunch of Tiny Terror books, so I'm going to skip past those, to The Bad Kraken, which I gave 2.75 because what the helly. And then the last book of the 12 was The Cthulu Cat, which I ended up really loving and giving a 5-star. And then the one I just talked about was The Imaginary Corpse, which I'm giving a 4. I think in my TBR, I said that I was like guessing if I liked them or not. I think I was wrong on a lot of these. I think I thought I was going to hate almost all of these, and I pleasantly did not. Like, the lowest one I had was the 2.75 for Bad Kraken, but even Friday didn't like that one. He just gave it to me to get my reaction, not because it was actually good. And we actually got 1, 2, 3, 4. We actually got 5 5-stars from Friday. That is amazing, and I'm actually really happy with how that worked out. Like, that's really great. I'm really surprised, and I am so beyond grateful that Friday gave me these books. I have always wanted to do something like this, but I didn't really have like the audience or the friends that were reading a lot. And now I'm so thankful that I do have friends that read that can give me some crazy book recommendations. Our next one is in January, and my friend Paris, she's my IRL, but she goes by Pilot Paris on like the internet. She's picking out my January ones for her birthday. It's going to be so much romance, guys. It's going to be so much romance. She's such a romance girly. I'm okay with that. I told her that I'm okay with that. It's her birthday month. We live, laugh, love, apparently, in this household. Only in January's. And it makes sense because people we meet on vacations coming out that month. So, like, getting in the romance mood will be totally fine. And then I've actually had 2 people come forward to be the April and July. So really, I just only need 1 more person, and then 2026 is booked up. Like, no one else, everyone else will just get put on a wait list, which is so crazy to say. Like, I can't believe I have that many friends that are, like, willing to help. And it sounds like I'm bragging. I'm not bragging. I'm in disbelief of, like, what the shit? What the shit do you mean I've grown, like, a community for myself? Well, I still have people's communities from them because they're awesome. Like, I definitely have made my own friends, but a lot of my friends come from other communities that I'm like, come here, come to my side too. I do cool things and I'm funny. Um, so I've just been like so pleasantly surprised how great this idea has turned out. And if you're watching this and you think, hey, I really like to do that myself, feel free to. I mean, I don't technically have a claim on this idea. I do have a claim on the name, like Mooing with Friends. That's mine. If you call yourself Mooing with Friends, I mean, I totally guess it's fine. You just might be a little confused unless you go by Moo or your like name has to do with cows. People might be a little confused, but I'm not gonna like slaughter you for it. But the idea is free to use. I mean, it's just having your friends pick books, and maybe your friends will pick you books with different rules, or maybe you'll do different guidelines. And I think that'd be really fun. I'd love to see people do this, more people doing this. I think it's a really beautiful thing to allow your friends to share their books with you. I think it's a really beautiful way of connecting with people when you're just like, hey, give me your favorite books, or give me books that you think I should read, and then connecting over them. It's so meaningful. Like I've actually had like me and Friday have talked about things like a little bit on and off, like just a couple of things here and there, and it's like such meaningful conversations of like, oh, now we've both read this and now we have someone to talk to about it, versus if no one ever read those books, Friday wouldn't have anyone to talk about it with, really, and now we have each other to talk about things with, like in the sense of like the books. And I think that's how I was wanting it to become. I was like, oh yay, we're gonna have people to talk about, that's so great. And then it's ended up turning out a lot better than I thought. I'm kind of nitpicky and I'm kind of critical and I'm kind of judgmental. So I was really not I was really not expecting to get so many 5 stars. I think I actually got 5 stars from the Cthulu Cat one as well. And now you've gotten 5 stars, 5 stars from Friday. So my favorite book of the month, I'm kind of dreading telling you this because there were so many good ones that I don't know what to pick. Can I pick 2? Can I pick 2? I think my favorite book, I have 2. Let's do 2. Let's say I have a favorite book that I was not surprised by that I loved. And then there's a favorite book that I was surprised by that I loved. So I'm going to have 2 favorites. 2 bad bitches at the same damn time kind of energy. The book that came to no surprise to me, really, I think, is Hide. I love amusement park settings. I love them. I really haven't read that many amusement park books to have like an opinion on them, but this one really blew me out of the water and I really enjoyed this. And my 5 star is a genuine like, this blew me away. The writing was so great. It had me on the edge of my seat. I really didn't know what to expect. Like this is like a true 5 star, like true favorite book of the month. But then the 5 star that like really took me by surprise was Sewer Sharks, and I think that I have to give it the place of my favorite book of the month as well for different reasons. Like this is one of Friday's favorite books. It's one of books that Friday recommends to everyone, and it really truly surprised me on how funny it was, how just crazy and graphic, but like in a funny way that you're kind of like, I don't want to stop reading, I want to laugh with you. And I think me and Friday will talk about Sewer Sharks for the rest of our friendship, because now we get each other. Now I understand. I understand him now on different levels. So I think those are the 2 books that I would say were my favorites of the month. There were so many other standout ones that I really enjoyed, like Dark Harvest was really silly, the Cthulu Cat was really fucking cute, but I just think that of all of the books that I read, not including the Tiny Terrors, because I don't want to sway that opinion because this is about Friday, I just do think that Hide and Sewer Sharks are the ones that I was like, yeah, this is it. This is peak Friday reading to me. So thank you so much for watching. I know I kind of yapped a little bit here about some things, but I kind of just wanted to show my gratitude towards my friends and to Friday. Me and Friday are doing like a Discord discussion this Saturday in my Discord, and we were trying to think of what to call it, and we ended up calling it Fried Wieners because he goes by Friday Thing and I go by Wiener Wagon in the gaming community. And we kind of like were thinking about how to combine our names, and he said that. He was like, what if we just called ourselves Fried Wieners? And I was like, that's hilarious. I'm doing that. And I can't wait. Like, it's going to be such a good time of, like, just anyone, like, in my community, like, in our Discord can join, and they'll be able to ask us questions. I'll be able to ask Friday questions. He can ask me questions. It'll be a nice, lovely chat with a British person, which will be so much fun. So this is the end of Friday Frights. The next one will be in January, which feels so far away, but it's really not. I will see you guys in January, if not before, for the next iteration of this. If you are curious what else I do, I post monthly TBRs, I do monthly wrap-ups, I do some tier ranking of books, I don't know, I think I just do really fun videos, personally. So if you're here watching Mooing with Friends, or Friday Frights, which is what I'm calling it, and you're like, hey, I would like to see more of you, I post videos every Sunday. This is going up on Fridays because its name is Friday. I do want to eventually get into doing videos twice a week, but, you know, life is crazy. We do what we can. So, thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe if you like my content and you think I'm funny and cool and silly, and I'll see you around. I do stream as well on Twitch. I'm kind of like promoting myself because I feel like I don't talk about these things enough. But I do stream on Twitch. I do co-working sprints, and I do games. I do like Fields of Mystria, I do Repo, I do Peak, I do Party Animals, I do Sims. So if any of that sounds good, I'm on like pretty much all socials. Like all of my socials I think are Mooing with May. Should I do like the one, should I say the one that I found the most surprising? Like the one I didn't know what it was going to be about, and then it shocked me what it was about? Should I say that one? Yeah, I'll say it. It's Mort. Like, if I have to pick one where I was like, I had no idea what this is going to be about, and it kind of shocked me what it was about, it's definitely Mort. I did not realize that what Discworld was, and I didn't realize that they're pretty much on a fucking turtle. And, you know, there's more to that than just that. But that's, they're just on a turtle. And that's so crazy to me. We read some good things. We had some cute books, we had some scary books, we had some smutty books. I think this technically had 7 books that you're reviewing. I'll have part 1 linked in the comments in case you hadn't watched part 1 yet. I'm just so beyond grateful. And I'll see you guys around. Bye. And let me know in the comments if you're Team Jacob, Team Edward, or Team Charlie. Bye.